All right, aspirants, this is S. Ramakrishna. You are listening to podcast Botany for Niche. In second episode, Do Plants Breathe? Keep the NCRT textbook with you. Listen with attention. Do plants breathe? In this answer is not so direct because the animals having breathing organs, respiratory organs, the plants not having any respiratory or breathing organs. In respiration, oxygen is replaced by the plant, carbon dioxide is released. Even though it lacks respiratory organs, it ensures the availability of oxygen and carbon dioxide through stomata and the lenticels. So stomata we do expect in leaves and young stems in epidermis. Lenticels, mature pods, that is woody stems, the lenticels are present, through which gases exchange occur. How do plants can get along even without respiratory organs? Nothing but how the plant can cope up without respiratory organs. There are three main reasons. In first main reason, how plant can get along even without respiratory organ. In this first one, 2 points. Each part of the plant can take care of its own gaseous needs. That means there is no other special part for gaseous exchange requirement. In that second point, there is little transport of the gases from one part to other. Not it is even centimeter distance, it is a micrometer distance. Second major one. Plant do not present much gaseous demand because the plants which are immobile, animals are mobile, require much energy, perform high metabolism. But in case of the plants, root, stem, leaf respires far lower than animals. Next, much gaseous exchange occur only during the process of photosynthesis. So during this period, leaf is well adapted to take care of its own gaseous needs. Why? Because oxygen availability during this period is not a problem in these cells because in photosynthesis oxygen is the byproduct. Third, even a large bulky tree, the distance that the gases that diffuse is not that much of the great because it is a micrometer distance only. And most of the living cells lies close to the surface. This is true for the leaves only. What about woody stems and root? If you take woody stems, undergone secondary growth, thin layers of the cells beneath the bark. What are thin layers of cells beneath the bark? Secondary cortex. It do have lenticels for gases exchange, lens-shaped pores. Deeper to this secondary cortex provide mechanical support. Deeper to secondary cortex, what is the tissue present? Secondary xylem or wood, which provide mechanical support. And most of the cells, at least a part contact with atmosphere. How it is facilitated? Loose packaging of the cells interconnected by air spaces. Root is underground. It is having cortex, general cortex having intercellular spaces. Communicated to stem having secondary cortex having intercellular space. Stem connected to leaf having mesophyll cells having intercellular spaces connected to atmosphere. So root communicate to the atmosphere through stem as well as leaves. Next paragraph. If the released energy really useful to the cell to synthesize other biomolecules needed by the cell adopt a strategy, a pattern. The key is glucose catabolized in such a way that not all liberated energy goes out as heat. That means some energy goes out as heat. And not all the energy liberated at once into the cell. Not in one step, several small steps. Some steps large enough to synthesize more number of ATP. That means In some steps, whatever the energy released is sufficient to couple ADP and IP to make ATP. That means that not all steps are involved in the ATP formation. At some step, enough energy released that couples ADP and IP to make ATP. And not the energy released not directly it is utilized. Rather, it is trapped or packed in the form of what it is ATP. It is the entire story of respiration. So, combustion require oxygen. Respiration may or may not require oxygen. The products formed are carbon dioxide, water, and energy. So, there are instances, there are evidences the first cells survived under anaerobic condition. Even present today living organisms are adapted to anaerobic condition. Do you see any instances or organisms in which such conditions are present? Yes. If you take seed germination, the seed germination initially it is anaerobic, later it is aerobic. And there are obligate anaerobes strictly survives only in the absence of oxygen. Facultative anaerobe, originally it is aerobic, but survives even under anaerobic condition. So whether aerobic organism or anaerobic organism, all the organism retain enzymatic machinery to partially oxidize the glucose into two molecules of pyruvic acid and some amount of energy released even in case of the glycolysis. So glycolysis is only the pathway in case of anaerobe, and glycolysis is one in case of aerobic organism. So whether aerobic or anaerobic, glycolysis is the common phase. This is Ramakrishna and signing off from this episode. You will see in case of next episode the glycolysis.